My beloved child. Pause here for a moment. Do not rush past these words, because what you are about to hear carries the weight of something that has been unfolding quietly behind your back. Your eyes may have found this message by chance, but your spirit already knows there is more happening than anyone has told you. Something unexpected has reached the heart of your soulmate, and what they discovered about someone close to you has forced them to look at everything differently. They were not searching for this truth. They did not wake up expecting their understanding of you, your past, or the people surrounding you to change. Yet a simple moment became a doorway. A conversation that seemed ordinary began revealing details no one intended to expose. One sentence led to another, and before long, your soulmate was sitting in silence, trying to understand why something so important had remained hidden for so long. Do not skip what comes next, because the person at the center of this discovery may not be who you first imagine. This is not simply about betrayal, jealousy, or someone speaking against you. The truth is more layered than that. It involves a person who has stood close enough to witness your pain, your sacrifices, and the moments when you pretended to be strong even while your heart was breaking. Your soulmate has now learned that this person knew far more about your emotional journey than they ever admitted. At first, your soulmate did not believe what they were hearing. They asked the same question twice, hoping they had misunderstood. The room seemed to become quieter. Even the person speaking hesitated, as if they suddenly realized that they had revealed something they were never supposed to say. But the words could not be taken back. Your soulmate had heard them clearly, and once the truth entered their heart, everything began connecting. They started remembering moments when you seemed distant but never explained why. They thought about the times you gave love freely while receiving confusion in return. They remembered the look in your eyes when certain names were mentioned, the way your voice changed when someone close to you needed help, and how often you protected people who never protected you with the same devotion. What once seemed like small details now formed a picture your soulmate could no longer ignore. The unexpected truth was not that you had done something wrong. It was that someone close to you had watched you carry a burden that was never yours to carry. They knew you had been blamed for things you did not cause. They knew you had stayed silent to protect another person's image. They knew you had accepted emotional weight that should have been shared. And for reasons that are only now beginning to surface, they allowed others to misunderstand you. Your soulmate felt something shift inside them when they learned this. It was not anger alone. It was sadness, admiration, and a deep sense of regret. They began wondering how many times they had misread your silence. They questioned whether they had mistaken your exhaustion for coldness or your caution for a lack of love. They realized that while they were waiting for you to explain yourself, you were quietly trying to keep an entire emotional world from falling apart. Stay until the end, because this discovery has awakened a decision inside them. But before that decision is revealed, you must understand how this truth reached them. It did not come from the person you expected. It came through someone who had been carrying their own guilt. Someone who had watched the situation unfold and finally reached a point where remaining silent felt heavier than speaking. The conversation began with your name. It was mentioned casually, almost as if it held no danger. But your soulmate immediately became attentive. They tried not to show how deeply they cared, yet their heart reacted before their face did. They leaned closer. They asked what had been meant by a certain comment. The person speaking attempted to change the subject, but your soulmate did not let it pass. There was something in the hesitation that told them the story was incomplete. Your soulmate asked again, more gently this time. They said they were not looking for drama. They simply wanted the truth. That was when the atmosphere changed. The person across from them lowered their eyes and admitted that someone close to you had played a much larger role in your emotional pain than anyone realized. This person had influenced situations quietly. They had shared selective details. They had shaped opinions without telling the full story. Sometimes they acted as though they were protecting you, but their version of protection often left you isolated. They did not always speak with cruelty. In fact, that is what made it so difficult to recognize. Their words often sounded concerned, helpful, or reasonable. Yet underneath those words was a need to control how others saw you. Your soulmate was stunned. They had believed certain things about you because this person appeared trustworthy. They had accepted explanations that now seemed incomplete. They had wondered why your actions did not match the stories they had heard. Now they understood that your behavior had not been the contradiction. The story had been distorted. A wave of regret moved through them. They remembered times they had questioned your intentions. They thought about moments when they could have defended you but stayed quiet because they did not have enough information. They recalled conversations where your name had been discussed, and they realized that someone close to you had been guiding those discussions in subtle ways. Yet this discovery did not make your soulmate turn against you. It did the opposite. For the first time, they began seeing the depth of your loyalty. You had known that this person was imperfect. You had sensed that certain things were being said. You had noticed the changes in people's behavior. Still, you refused to expose them. You chose restraint when you could have revealed everything. You chose compassion even when compassion was costing you peace. Your soulmate could not understand why you had stayed silent for so long. Then the person speaking shared another detail, one that caused your soulmate's entire expression to change. They learned that you had once been given an opportunity to defend yourself publicly. You could have shown messages, revealed private conversations, or corrected the story in a way that would have changed everyone's opinion. But you did not. You stepped back because the truth would have embarrassed someone you cared about. You accepted being misunderstood because you believed protecting another person's dignity was more important than protecting your own reputation. When your soulmate heard this, their eyes filled with emotion. They had never realized how much love existed inside your silence. They had interpreted your refusal to explain as distance. Now they understood that it was sacrifice. You were not hiding because you lacked honesty. You were hiding the pain because you did not want to destroy someone else. My child, heaven saw every moment when you wanted to speak but swallowed the words. Heaven saw every night when you replayed conversations, wondering whether staying silent had been the right choice. Heaven saw how you carried the ache of being misjudged while still hoping that truth would reveal itself without you having to wound anyone. And now, truth has begun moving. Not because you forced it. Not because you demanded revenge. Not because you tried to control the outcome. It is moving because silence has completed its purpose. What was hidden can no longer remain hidden, and the person who once believed they could manage the story is beginning to lose control of it. Your soulmate has started asking questions. Quiet questions. Serious questions. They are looking back at old situations and noticing details they once ignored. They are remembering who changed the subject whenever your goodness was mentioned. They are recalling who seemed uncomfortable whenever you and your soulmate grew closer. They are seeing how often this person positioned themselves between understanding and confusion. But there is another layer, and this is where the revelation becomes more personal. The person close to you was not simply afraid of losing influence. They were afraid of what your connection with your soulmate might reveal about them. They knew that if your soulmate truly understood your heart, certain lies would collapse. They knew that love would make your soulmate more curious, more protective, and less willing to accept incomplete stories. Your soulmate's love for you threatened the illusion this person had built. This does not mean every action was planned with cruelty. Some of it came from insecurity. Some came from fear of being left behind. Some came from the belief that your growth would expose their stagnation. They had grown accustomed to you being the one who apologized, the one who carried the responsibility, the one who made peace even when you were not the cause of the conflict. But your soulmate sees it now. They see how often you were expected to understand everyone while no one tried to understand you. They see how easily people came to you with their problems but disappeared when you needed support. They see that the person closest to you benefited from your kindness while quietly resenting the strength that kindness created within you. This realization has not brought your soulmate peace. Not yet. It has brought restlessness. They have been thinking about reaching out. They have imagined asking you directly. They have rehearsed the words in their mind, then stopped because they do not want to reopen a wound you have worked hard to close. They are afraid that mentioning this person may cause you to retreat. They know you are tired of explaining experiences that others should have understood without requiring proof. Still, your soulmate cannot pretend they do not know. Something huge is waiting within this unfolding moment, because the truth they learned has changed not only how they see the person close to you, but also how they see themselves. They are confronting the painful possibility that they may have contributed to your loneliness by believing what was convenient instead of asking what was true. That realization humbled them. They remembered a moment when you tried to tell them something without saying it directly. Your words were careful. Your face held more emotion than your voice. You were hoping they would look beyond the surface, but they were distracted by their own fears. They responded too quickly. They did not ask the question your heart needed them to ask. Now that moment keeps returning to them. They can hear your voice. They can remember the pause after you spoke. They can see the way you looked away, as though you had decided that explaining further would only make things worse. Your soulmate understands now that this was one of the moments when you almost trusted them with the truth. And they missed it. The regret of that realization has become impossible to ignore. Yet do not mistake regret for defeat. Something powerful is being born from it. Your soulmate is no longer content to remain passive. They feel a responsibility to make things right, not through confrontation or public conflict, but through honesty. They want you to know that they see you differently now. They want you to understand that the parts of your story once used against you have become the very evidence of your strength. They are beginning to admire what they once misunderstood. Your silence was not weakness. Your distance was not indifference. Your caution was not rejection. Your emotional walls were not built to punish anyone. They were built because too many people had entered your heart without respecting what they found there. Your soulmate knows this now, and that knowledge has made them more careful with their next step. The person who revealed the truth also gave them a warning. They said that if your soulmate approached you carelessly, you might close the door. Not because you do not care, but because you have learned to protect your peace from sudden confessions and temporary guilt. You need consistency, not emotional promises. You need actions that remain steady after the intensity fades. Your soulmate listened. For once, they did not defend themselves. They did not say they had their own reasons. They simply listened as someone described the emotional cost of what you had endured. They heard how often you had hoped they would notice. They heard how you had defended your soulmate even when others told you to walk away. They heard that despite everything, you had never spoken of them with the bitterness people expected. That detail broke something open inside them. They asked, why would they still protect me? The answer they received was simple, but it left them speechless. Because they loved you more deeply than they knew how to explain. Your soulmate looked down. For a long moment, no one spoke. The weight of those words entered the room and remained there. Your soulmate realized that while they had been measuring love through messages, timing, and visible gestures, your love had often revealed itself through what you refused to do. You did not embarrass them. You did not retaliate. You did not turn private pain into public evidence. Even when you pulled away, you carried their name carefully. They had never understood the courage required for that kind of love. Now they do. My child, there are moments when heaven does not change the situation immediately because certain hearts must first become capable of recognizing the truth. Your soulmate could not have received this revelation earlier. They would have filtered it through pride, fear, or confusion. But now something within them has softened enough to hear what was always there. This is why the truth arrived when it did. Not too early. Not too late. At the exact moment when it could no longer be dismissed. The person close to you senses that something has changed. They may not know everything your soulmate has learned, but they can feel the shift. They have noticed that your soulmate is asking different questions. They have noticed that certain stories no longer have the same power. They have noticed that your name is being spoken with more respect. This is creating discomfort. But do not fear the discomfort. It is not your responsibility to protect everyone from the consequences of truth. You are not being called to revenge, exposure, or conflict. You are being called to remain still while false narratives lose their strength. Your soulmate is observing more than they are saying. They are watching how this person reacts when you are mentioned. They are noticing the contradictions. They are comparing old words with new facts. And with every detail, your soulmate is becoming more certain that you were never the problem they were led to believe you were. Yet the most unexpected part of this discovery has not been revealed to you. Because your soulmate did not only learn what someone close to you had done. They learned why you continued to keep that person in your life. They discovered that there is a promise connected to this relationship. A promise you made during a vulnerable moment. A promise to stand by this person, even when standing by them became painful. You believed leaving would make you disloyal. You believed choosing yourself would mean abandoning someone who once needed you. Your soulmate understands the beauty of that promise, but they also see the cost. They can see that loyalty has become a chain. They can see that compassion has been used to keep you in a role that no longer belongs to you. And for the first time, someone is preparing to tell you that love does not require you to remain where your spirit is repeatedly wounded. Your soulmate wants to be that person. They want to tell you that you are allowed to release responsibilities that were placed on you through guilt. You are allowed to forgive someone without giving them continued access to your peace. You are allowed to love people from a distance. You are allowed to choose a future that does not repeat the emotional patterns of your past. But they are afraid. Not of the person close to you. They are afraid you will think their concern is another attempt to control you. They know you have heard too many people tell you what you should do. They know others have spoken as though they understand your heart without ever asking what you need. Your soulmate does not want to become another voice demanding that you make a decision before you are ready. So they have been waiting. They have been searching for a way to speak that feels gentle, honest, and safe. And heaven has been working within that waiting. A conversation is approaching. It may begin casually, but it will not remain casual. Your soulmate will reveal that they know something. They may not tell you immediately how they learned it. They may begin by asking whether you ever felt misunderstood by them. They may apologize for a moment you assumed they had forgotten. Listen closely when this happens. Because beneath their words will be a deeper confession. They will not only be apologizing for what they believed. They will be revealing that their feelings for you never disappeared, even during the silence. The truth they learned has removed one of the greatest barriers between you. It has shown them that much of the distance was created by fear, interference, and assumptions, not by the absence of love. But there is still one final detail your soulmate does not understand. The person who revealed the truth did not tell them everything. They stopped at the most important part. Your soulmate noticed the hesitation. They asked what else had happened. The person became nervous. They said it was not their place to continue. But as they stood to leave, they accidentally mentioned a date your soulmate recognized immediately. It was the same day you disappeared emotionally. The same day your soulmate felt your energy change. The same day someone close to you made a decision that altered the path between you. Your soulmate froze when they heard it. They asked what happened on that day. The person looked at them with fear and regret, then quietly said, "You still do not know what they sacrificed to protect you." And before your soulmate could ask another question, the conversation ended. Now your soulmate is searching for the missing piece. They know it involves you. They know it involves the person close to you. And they know that whatever happened on that day may explain why you walked away while still loving them. But what they are about to discover next is far more powerful than anything they have already learned, because hidden within that sacrifice is a truth about your connection that someone has been desperately trying to keep buried.